Three, two, one.
Hello and welcome to the TachoBreak Podcast. I'm Mark and I am joined by
Dave.
That's the point. Now, would you?
So you thought well, then we really messed this up, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh, well, we're in now. And anyway, so this week, this episode, we wanted to talk about CPCs and how we feel about them and whether they're any use, whether they're a pointless waste of time. We've both got our opinions on it, but it is a qualification that you've got to have if you want to drive trucks, lorries in the UK at the moment. So I thought I would start off by just going into some of the background of the CPC. So if I bring it up here, it was introduced first for buses and coaches back in 2008, and then 2009 it was introduced for lorry drivers. It worked on anyone newly qualifying would have to get their driver CPC initial qualification, while drivers who already were license holders got acquired rights or grandfather rights, as we term it colloquially, I guess. They estimated beforehand that the CPC would affect, what is it they say, industry stakeholders, so drivers who would have to get it done was anywhere between 500,000 and 750,000 people. They managed to get it all done. So when they introduced it in 2008, I was still a bus driver, and I remember I had to do a week of just doing CPC courses, and obviously those were bus related stuff. So it was stuff like daily checks, the same as with a lorry. Customer service was one where you had to do ticketing and log cards, because obviously we drove to domestic hours. We didn't do tacho on the buses. Then in 2009 they started with the lorries, and so there was a mad rush. Just looking at the figures here, so there was a mad rush between April 2013 and July 2014, where more or less 400,000 drivers needed to get their hours of CPC work in before the deadline, essentially. So the training deadline, if you're a lorry driver with acquired rights, it's the deadline to finish your first round of CPC. Periodic training is by September the 10th 2014, and most people got that done. So it was a bit of a weird one where they introduced it, and a lot of people, people with years and years of experience were being told stuff that they've been doing for years and years, possibly by people who hadn't been doing it as long as them. And I know that's one of the issues Dave has with it. So I will hand it over to him and let him express his opinions about it.
It's not all bad, right? You make it sound like I could go, I hate you. And I do, but not you, okay. CPC. It's couple of things. I think there's two major points when it first came out. One which I think was a good idea. One of the ideas behind it was also about leveling the playfield, as in getting commercial contracts, because what you had originally, you had people, when it's the old tacho system, just the disc when you used to fill it out. I mean, you only had to be in it a few months, so you knew how to do it.
Okay.
You could adapt it easier. Needle stuck, mate. Oh, my car damaged my card. I put a new one. I had to do a new one. I've done it on the back, and there's all sorts of different ways to get around it. And what that meant was that that companies who like to operate in that way were able to get more contract.
Okay.
And charge less.
So it leveled the playing field as far as.
So completely leveled the playing field in that, as in now it's gone all digital.
Mm-hmm.
with alongside the CPC and the DigiCard and everything else, is
Okay.
that it's a lot easier for them to track companies, and it's a lot easier for people who are. So if I was going to say you're a haulage company, I'm going to contract you. I can then go on the website now and just see how many infringement your company's got. What the light
Okay.
system we discussed before
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
are you green? Are you red? If you're red, then maybe I'm not going to contract you.
Yeah.
So it really did help in
So,
that manner.
so when did they introduce the Digi Tacho cards?
That I can't remember the exact date, but it was in line with that, and that's when we
Okay.
took it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. That came out with it. I think the Digitaker came slightly earlier than the actual CPC courses, but that was the whole big changes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, you can go. So with the company, as I was saying, as a company operates, you can verify how well they operate, and part of the CPC is that, so you can see, drivers, CPC, have they been failed to CPC? Have they, all that sort of,
Yep.
ideas come up. So in that sense, it was. I thought it was a very good idea, because I hate unfairness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
yeah.
really do.
And
It just
if people
makes
are,
me angry.
if people are going to be running dirty, doing 18 hours of driving, it's not right. It's dangerous as well.
Yeah, it is, and I think that was you just hit the nail on the head. The main thing drive behind it was actually getting it safer for not just for drivers and all that, but for local public. You're driving something 40 odd ton and you're falling asleep because your company's pushing you to do 15, 16, 17 hours a day. You're going to have a serious accident, sooner than later, really. And, so that was another sort of drive of it.
Oh, okay.
There's also, like on a forum, I was reading on one of the forums, which is, I'm not sure how true it is, but it's a good point, that it was also the idea of I am very generalizing. If anyone out there wishes to disagree, by all means, go ahead and disagree. I am generalizing
I
here,
disagree.
but like you. Yeah, okay, cool. I even said it. Yeah, give me a chance. That also the CPC. A lot of people say sometimes I'm just going to say it. Is driving is a last ditch job. It's easy.
Yes, I could see I could see what you mean.
Yeah.
I could see what you mean. Yeah.
And part of the CPC was to try and have that more professional image portrayed.
Yeah.
And try to get more younger drivers looking at it as a popular career. So you had a qualification there, additional qualification from your license, to evidence your professionalism.
Yes.
Don't think that's actually worked.
I understand what you mean, and the drive behind it, because it is, if you've got a driving license, you can go out and, I mean, particularly now, I don't wish to denigrate anyone or anything. I mean, I started off delivering for Littlewood's catalogue, but particularly now, if you've got a driving license, you can go and do Uber Eats. You can go and do, Uber Taxi. You can go and do Amazon delivery in your car, sort of thing. I know a couple of guys who do that. They'll do an evening of dropping off parcels for Amazon. So yeah, it is an undervalued profession as far as that goes, because if you've got a driving license, away you go, sort of thing. So I understand I understand what you mean about trying to bring a bit more professionalism to it. I mean, I would have thought the fact that you're having to take a Class C license or a CE license, and I mean, even for people who aren't as old as us, who didn't get grandfathered C1 7.5 ton rights, they have to take a test just to do that now as well, don't they? So it's not like you just falling into it. But yeah, I see what you mean about the drive to up professional standards. I mean, it's laudable, really. It's a good idea. But therein lies the problems with it. I think, as we both know, it's if you've been driving for 25, 30 years, and then you have to go and sit in a classroom to be told, you know, about your tacho hours. You know, how long can you drive for without a break? It's like, mate, I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been doing it since we had to double declutch the lorries, sort of thing. You know, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. Some people can find it hard to sit there and listen to someone telling them how to suck eggs. Essentially, I think is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially when it was over 7 hours. And that's basically a day.
Oh yeah, yeah,
A whole
yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just oh mate, just yeah. I Most of ours ended up in just flagging other drivers off and other companies off. That's what most of them amounted to. Just say that there was the one company I went to in Croydon, a guy who was very official headed. I went through every single step.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's you know, I did have a question and answer and that sort of stuff. But most people don't. Well, the CPC don't. And so you just end up just switching off.
Yeah.
And you've done it. What's the benefit? I can see the benefit of new drivers. And I think this is where the CPC has to change. I think it has just very recently.
Yeah.
Actually coming out, I think it's February.
Yeah, I was reading something about they're changing.
February they're changing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they change the terminology, but it's not a driver's card, is it anymore? It's National Driver CPC.
Okay.
So you've got a National Driver CPC, and you've got a new one then for returning drivers.
Oh, okay.
So if you've been out, you haven't got your license, you don't have to get the whole 35. You can just do 12, I think it is.
Oh, right. And that will cover you.
No, 7 hours. You can do 1 7. You can do 1 7 hours, which is a different module for a return to work. So that can get you back in the door and driving, but you have to do the rest of the hours within that first 12-month period.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to do the whole 12. The whole 35 hours before you can start driving.
Oh, right. So, I mean, because the 35 hours of CPC training is essentially a week, 7 hours a day sort of thing. So before, it's not, it would be a barrier for entry for people to looking to get back into it who have let their CPC qualification slip, because who thinks, I want to go back into it, but I'm going to have to sit in a classroom for a week sort of thing.
The financial cost as well, because that week you're not working, you're not earning.
Yeah, and
you pay for the course.
Yes, yeah. No, absolutely. It is. Yeah, it is kind of backwards. I mean, the one thing I would, it's always been so. When I came over to lorry driving, 2016, because I had my CPC from the buses, I could carry those modules over, as bizarre as that was. I mean, to some regards, daily checks are the same. You're still looking at tyres, you're still looking at lights, fuel leaks, that sort of stuff. But I remember one of the modules was about safe loading, I think it was. They're dolly knots, Dave. Dolly knots. Like, who... so I ended up just doing the module on tacho hours because I wasn't 100% sure on it. But I've heard of these legendary things called dolly knots. When people used to rope and sheet stuff. Well, I mean, that just seems ridiculous to me. That you would have to do in 2016. You would do a course on tying dolly knots. I've never driven anything. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're like driving with just a flatbed and you're having to rope and sheet stuff. But how many? How often does that happen anymore?
Yeah, especially now with strappers.
Yes.
Because mostly it's all done by straps, and you can even get tarps now when you do sheets. They actually got proper strap on
Yeah.
the wrench,
Yeah.
whatever you
Yeah.
call it. I can't remember the right term. And so ratchet
Yeah.
wrench thing.
Yeah. Ratchet strap. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So if you put a sheet on, you put a sheet on,
Yeah.
and then you put a strap over it.
But then
Yeah.
that just, I
The
mean,
thing that got me about that is, right, so you do that, you do the dollar knots, and you understand that, and you sit in the classroom and do it. So does that then qualify, say it's not dating? This is one of the big problems I've got with it. So then is that therefore stating that you are able to go out there and whatever load you've got, you are competent in securing that load?
well, I suppose by rights it is, isn't it? Oh, we're back. We had a brief break there because Dave's home shopping delivery turned up.
Yes, yeah, he did early
Did
and turned up next door.
did he have his load secured properly, Dave, on the back of
Oh,
that van?
yeah, well, the shutters are down, aren't they? They're little drawers, aren't they?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's
So
true.
the shutters were down.
He,
So
he,
yeah.
he doesn't have to ratchet down the cornflakes packets.
No, which is a good idea because they'd be trashed.
Yeah.
won't they?
Oh, yes. So, I mean, as far as the strapping and stuff goes, I kind of use it's that stuff you learn on a job. And I mean, if you're doing stuff with chains and like really having to strap stuff down, then you would hope the job, the actual place that's employing you, would give you proper training on that. I'd imagine. Because I've not seen any CPC courses about using chains or even really ratchet straps. I don't think. I might be wrong though.
No, I mean that's the sort of point I'm getting to, and that which I think there should be. I think this is why I say, especially new drivers, a benefit, but it's got to be changed. You should have that opportunity to go to a trailer as part of your CPC with various different loads on it, and have some ratchet straps. And right, how do we go about doing this? To have that practical experience as well. So that's the only way you're going to get that proficiency, rather than this load has got to be strapped down by so and so. If you're looking at chains and that sort of thing, you're getting to more specialist haulage. It is covered there with the course. You're doing heavy. You're doing heavy haul. You've got a big dig on the back. They're chained down, and that's part of the course of how you chain it, and the different vehicles and that sort of thing, especially with breakdown trucks and all that sort of stuff. So that's all involved in it. But just a general sort of haulage to go into a CPC course, like now, especially only 3.5 hours long. You only do a 3.5 hour one. Now you don't have to do 7 hours. And if you're online, you may not be there with other experienced drivers who can share their experience.
No, that's
how the ratchet's done. Yeah,
that is a very good point. A lot of them have gone online now. I mean, I know because we recently did our CPC through our employer, and that was classroom based, but that was just because we all sort of went in there on a Saturday, and I know that's another issue that has caused drivers to get the ump about it, because they're working Monday to Friday, 55, 60-hour weeks, as is standard in the haulage industry, and then you're asked to do it on a Saturday. And it's
or
like
an evening. That's the idea of it, was that it would give the company the flexibility to get their drivers trained during those work hours.
But that's sorry. One second. I mean, that's one of the problems, though, is you have to be working for a company that's going to either give you a day off during the week. I don't know how many companies are going to do that, unless they're
you're supposed to do it on the idea is like our sort of workplace. You go in the office, there's a computer in the office, you're right, not doing a lot, you've done it, you get back, you've got 3.5 hours this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, you can sit in the office and you can do it online. That's the idea behind it.
Is this the new
that's
okay.
how it's supposed to do it.
Okay.
Because each company, regardless of what industry you're in, have got a legal obligation to train you to a proficient standard.
Yep.
But in this industry, it seems to be that the onus is always put back on the driver again to do that, to make allowance for that, rather than the company is supposed to be making allowances or making it easy for the driver to do it within his working week.
Okay.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen.
No.
It doesn't happen in this industry. I mean, it's like my wife and other jobs I've had in different industry. You get paid to train. That's part of your training day. You go off, part of your week. You book in the course. You go off training for that day.
Yeah.
You still get paid for it.
Yeah.
In this industry, it seems to like, no, we're not going to pay you for it. You still got to do all the work, and then you train later on in your own time.
Yeah. I mean, this comes back to. I mean, it speaks to a wider thing. I mean, we're recording this early January 2025, and all I've been hearing lately is that as a country we don't invest in our workers, our productivity is rubbish, and it puzzled me for ages. And it wasn't until someone said to me the other day, like CPC is essentially training your drivers. If you've got someone employed for you who's a 7.5 ton driver, putting them through for their Class C or Class CE is investing in your workforce, so it improves productivity. But there does seem to be they don't want to do it. This industry just really does not want to do it unless you're in like a big company. We don't have to name check them. We know who the big couriers and hauliers are, sort of thing. There just isn't a will to do that. Just to invest in people. I don't think. And you're right. You're 100% right as far as with the CPC goes. You're training your drivers, but you don't want to pay them for it. Yeah.
And this is where you get big turnover staff, and then you say, well, there's driver shortage. She said, well, this is why. A lot of this, not all the reasons, but this is why. It's because generally, like you say, unless you're part of some really big companies, and touching on the last podcast, our podcast, when we spoke about these apprenticeships. I think that's all part of it. So I think these bigger companies are starting to take over, are starting to give out that model. But I think that model of professionalism has to go all the way down to the little companies, and at the moment they're scrapping to make money, and that's the difference. I mean, these big companies, like I say, they've got a training budget. It's part of their training budget. They've got that allowed time, which they will fit into their work schedule.
Yeah.
Most smaller companies are running like the place where we work, running 20, vehicles, 20, 30 vehicles.
Yeah,
it's just about making money.
It's a small company. They don't have the margins to be able to lose 5, 6, 7 members of staff for the day to send them off to do a CPC course. That's just we're not criticising or anything. That's just the nature of what it is, sort of thing.
But I think with the 3.5 hours, it's now, and especially being online, that for companies like that we're working for, if you manage that better, it is achievable. You can do it in your work, because you're only talking, one person
for an afternoon.
A few hours for an afternoon.
Yeah.
That's achievable. Yeah. You sit down at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, you go, and when you're back at the depot by 2 o'clock, do your deliveries, which generally you are sort of done by then. Do your deliveries, and we'll cover the collections with other people. You can head back here, get tipped, come in, sit down. You'll be done by 5:30.
Yeah.
Which is, I
won't hold my breath.
So it is. No, I'm not saying that's going to happen at all. It just needs to be managed, and I think that's where it falls down. And as I was saying, that's where the onus gets put back on the driver to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not managed well, and because it's not managed well in a lot of companies of that size and nature, there is no government incentive to manage that. There's no, and there's no financial, disqualification or anything like that, or recognition, lack of recognition,
Yeah.
because you haven't managed it. And I think that's where it's missing.
Yeah.
I think that's where the CPC has to be a bit more professional, has a bit more oomph behind it to get in these companies and say, this is how you're supposed to manage it.
Well, I mean, I
But
know. Yeah. I mean, in a from a positive point of view, personally, I'm an advocate of it. I know it's completely unworkable, so you can shoot me down in flames straight away. But I believe that car drivers, I don't know, every 10 years or so, they should go on some sort of refresher course because of the bad habits that they've got into and stuff like that. I know it's completely unworkable and it would never happen. But just the fact, we can both sit here and tell stories of the terrible car driving that we see, sort of thing. And if they were to go back, once every decade, just to do a retest and say, no, look, you're doing this wrong. You're not paying attention to this. You're not looking in your mirrors. You're not doing blah, blah, blah. So being professional drivers, I'm all for, maintaining standards. So that means if we have to go back and not do a full retest, but, be reminded about certain stuff, I'm all for that. I mean, I'll just take the example of when I did the buses. So one of the modules was about customer service, sort of thing. But now I drove buses in South London, and it was, but it's not like in the countryside where people get on and get off at the front and they say thank you driver and all that stuff. That's all out the window. So you almost get a mentality of them versus us. You just want to get to the other end of the route as quickly as possible, and I couldn't give a monkeys about the people behind me sitting on seats, sort of thing. And it's when you go into the classroom and you sit down and you're like, no, you're kind of reminded, no, you are providing a service for someone, sort of thing. And it did kind of get me out of that mindset of, actually I'm here to drive people, sort of thing. And the same with the lorry driving. You are driving a big vehicle, you should be a bit more aware of stuff going on and things like that. So there are positives to be taken from having regular not retraining but just refresher courses or whatever. But I mean, I think that is, you touched upon it earlier, it depends on the quality of your teacher or your whatever you want to call them, your instructor or whatever, and equally some blokes doing the job just don't want to hear it. They have been driving lorries since forever, sort of thing, and there's nothing you can tell me about it. I've been doing it since, before the fuel crisis in the 70s or something like that. What are you going to teach these people, these drivers, sort of thing. So I think, along with more useful courses, having maybe instructors up to a higher standard as well, just to keep the drivers engaged. Because I mean, the fact is, we're all out and about driving, and that's for a reason. Because for me personally, I don't know about you, but being stuck indoors in an office environment isn't for me. And equally, it's a long time ago since I sat behind a desk, essentially in school, listening to someone talk to me for 7.5 hours or for the day, sort of thing. And you do literally lose the will to live, especially if they're just droning on, and it's stuff that you already know. Let's talk about, you've been driving for 2.5 hours, how long more can you drive for, sort of thing. It's like, mate, what are we doing here, So yeah, there is definite room for improvement, I think, as far as the way they structure the courses. And so maybe this 3.5 hours online will be better. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, would be my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think my idea world of the way it should be more sort of in line with the sort of driving test. So you've got two elements. You've got one which is the office, the sit down online stuff, which you can answer multiple choice thing. If you've worked out, if you've driven so many hours, how many you got left, and you can just go tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
In an hour, done. That
Yeah.
goes online, fine, great. CPC in the classroom then would actually be about going and do your physical checks. And this is why I think the new drivers would be great, because if I remember, on my test list, you do, the instructor came out with you and said, right, where do you check for your oil? Where do you check for this? And that's one cab out of very different sort of cabs, and completely different a Renault to the Mercedes. It's completely different. Totally and utterly. So you could do a more practical thing around that. You could go again back up about coupling, because we coupled. Well, it was a close couple. There's some companies and trailers you can't do a close couple.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got a fridge trailer.
Yeah, you have to.
Got a fridge trailer. Yeah, you can. And you know that. Yeah, and there's some companies you won't do it. If you're doing a long trailer, with cars and transporter sort of trailer, you can't do it. You can't get in there.
Oh, okay.
The trailer goes actually over your head of the cab.
Oh, well. Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's completely different. And I think, and then we go back to, well, if you do have to rope it, and there's or ratchets. So say you've got one that's got just pallets.
Yes.
And you're going to ratchet that completely different if you've got a machine on.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not going to be the same. So for that sort of thing, I think that's where the CPC should come into it. But you will still get the old boys who are cheap and topped. All it is, they've done chains, they've done this. I'm not bothered doing it. So that's why I think you've got to separate it somehow.
Okay.
That sort of exam thing. Maybe all they need is just that reminder to sit down. Multiple choice is just that exam. Once you've worked in the industry for consistent 6 years or something, then all you need to do is sit down on an exam, just to say, yes, I know how many hours I've got to break, my break is, and all that sort of stuff. And that's it. Yeah. But the CPC at the beginning could be broken down into actual practical, one online, do the test, do the theory, done, and then practical CPC courses, which can be done inside companies again. So, for example, our company we're working, you get taught how to do curtains. I mean, the amount of people who come that haven't done curtains, and you said about this before, that have not got an idea about doing the curtain. They just go straight in the back, lifted up tailgate. That's it. That's what we've done. And how to do a tailgate. All that sort of thing for the company could be part of your CPC.
Yeah, no.
That induction process can all be part of it.
No, that would, because it's on the job training, but it's specific to the job you're going to be doing, so it's much more practical, and it's a better thing to work it, I suppose.
And that's then going on to the company as well. If you're looking at that from the DVSA bit, I'll be looking at your company, so right, your induction system, how much of the CPC does that include? And that CPC will be going through how you operate that vehicle that you're contracted to do.
Yeah.
And then if you do that each different company you work at and different things, you are going to have that knowledge.
Yes.
You're going to have that experience of doing different things. And the company itself has evidenced it, that you've done this, which goes in there. Then you are a more proficient driver.
Yeah. Which is the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah, but the company has to be awarded for that as well. I think this is where I know you've got the red light system and all that sort of thing for where you are, but I think that's way too far. That's too late. I think there should be a sort of star system, maybe, that a company has done this amount of induction, they have done that sort of CPC with the drivers. It is actually work related and job related. They have all done their online exam for took an hour, and there you go. You are actually building up.
I can just imagine transport manager just screaming at the screen, saying I don't have the time to admin all that stuff on top of what I'm doing. It's just the practicalities of it, isn't it? I suppose.
So that's where it falls down in this industry, because that's the same excuse we've got all over the place.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That so really is we've got to be able to move on, and there's got to be recognition. I think the government has got to help out for companies to provide that, not only in recognition but within the industry itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
how I don't know.
well,
I haven't got that far. But.
Well, that seems like a good point to take a break, and we will be back in a minute. And we're back with some more TachoBreak podcast, and I believe Dave's got some news that is quite recent. So, what do you got for us, Dave?
Take it away from the CPC. Just to round up that CPC as well. That if anyone is out there listening, got questions or anything else like that, then please contact us, especially on the leave a comment, let us know, and we will hopefully get back to you. So
always looking for engagement.
Yeah, definitely engagement. So he knows all the words. Just leave me a message.
Yeah.
If I feel engaged, let's engage. Yes. Anyway, a bit of news. Two things really. Amazon and the electric truck. Amazon is to deploy nearly 150 electric heavy goods vehicles, right, this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this company said they bought more than 140 electric Mercedes-Benz heavy goods vehicles, 8 Volvo lorries, which is in the UK's biggest order electric trucks that can take loads of up to 40 tons.
Wow.
The vehicles will hit the road over the next 18 months.
Oh. Presumably that's going to be sort of Amazon warehouse to Amazon warehouse, I'm guessing.
Exactly. This is what I think what we said when we did the electric things. That's pretty much planned.
Yeah.
You know how far you can go. You know how long it takes.
Yes.
So it's very rigid. It's very structured. And retail companies like that or similar companies, they can do that. As ours with general haulage, it's
they're going to have
different.
They're going to have the money to build the infrastructure to be able to charge while they're parked on the loading bay, essentially. Yeah.
Exactly. That's and that's what it's very similar to some other retail companies who do fridge lorries. Quite often, you do a fridge lorry, you can charge your fridge up.
Oh, okay.
Your electric fridges, you've got electric point there to charge your electric fridge, or keep the fridge on power. Stop using the diesel tank.
Right.
Tanks.
Yeah.
So you can hook your fridge up on the bay, so you can keep the temperature in the trailer at the regular temperature without sitting there having your keys on.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it's quite an easy swap over change because of the fridge thing. Yeah, but it's very much it's the same routes they do, same nights, same things, same places. There's not going to be anything different. So but I think that's quite huge. That's a big
that's quite a number of new vehicles to be coming on, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, I mean they've got, according to that, as I said, they've already got 10, and they've bought another 140 to get the fleet up to 150 in the next 18 months.
Oh wow!
So the infrastructure for that is huge.
Yeah, but I mean, wow. Okay, so the shift over to electric is beginning, I guess.
Yeah, which leads me on to other bit of news. I do like my Renault T. I know a lot of drivers out there don't. It was the first proper big unit I drove. Used to drive.
A what? Sorry, mate.
A Renault T range.
Oh, okay.
The base is cheap man's Volvo. It's identical to Volvo. It really is. Yeah. There was a load of problems about it when it first came out, especially around the electrics, because the electrics were done by Renault, but Volvo have now taken it over as well. They're now Volvo electrics.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you should have to take 2 or 3 bags of bulb with you all the time. Man.
Oh wow!
And spend out on that because they kept the steering and the steering wheel, which I believe they have sorted now. Talking to some guys up the hub who drive Reynolds, I believe you never used to be able to get it in a company. It's up there or it was down there.
Oh, there was no kind of in between as far as the rake went.
No,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a pain, but they seem to have resolved that because a lot of drivers were complaining about it and just like, it's just I don't want to drive a rental because I'm not comfortable.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And so anyway, because it was my first proper big, I was just driving day cabs before then. Yeah, I got it. I actually do like the Renault, and they've brought out a new one called the Renault Truck E-Tech.
Ooh.
Right, well, yeah, and the E-Tech T.
Okay, so it's
T's about.
so is this and I'm assuming the E is for electric.
Yeah, it's 100% electric.
Oh, not even hybrid. It's 100% electric.
No, it is 100% electric, and it's coming out this year, pretty much sort of middle of the year. It's coming out this year, and it says with a range of 600 kilometers on a single charge.
Oh, okay. So that's
Yeah.
so what, about 450 miles or so?
That's long. That's a long way. What it doesn't say again was always my question, and they always seem to just not answer it. Is weight. What is that 600k on it? Is that just 600k as a unit, or is that with a trailer, or is that with a trailer plus 40 tons on?
Well, I mean, so I watched a YouTube video of I forget which manufacturer it was, but they made this point about it depends on, like you're saying, if you're dragging, I don't know, 26 pallets of bricks, you're not going to have the same range as if you're dragging 26 pallets of crisps, sort of thing. So
Exactly.
it really is, I suppose, dependent on that, I guess.
But what's interesting about this is that because a lot of them are way short of 600k and one charge. And what they're saying, they brought out, they've designed this new electric axle.
Oh, okay.
All right, which Jordan, because we're looking at electric powering. So far, the electric batteries will power the same axles that we've got now, but this is now a specialist electric axle.
Oh, okay.
All right, which is then driven from the batteries. But because it's electric one, I don't know if I can find it. It's in there somewhere. It's a turn on. But basically, it's smaller. It's reduced size.
Oh, okay.
It
Yep.
power straight off the battery, so it can actually increase the battery capacity.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And saying this is what they're saying is this is the way forward. That we've got to look for more specialised engines, not just adapted to electric. We've got to look for more specialised engines, reducing the payload, reducing the weight, reducing that, and using more and more technology. And by this news, they seem to be leading the way at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Who's Volvo come out? What Mercedes is going to come out with?
Yeah.
You don't know, but at the moment, this new axle, seems to be the way of making it possible at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It's all electric and not big gears driving other gears.
Oh, right. It's not coming from a motor to a drive shaft to the wheels. It's just going straight to the wheels.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I suppose on that we should start to wrap things up. As always, we're glad you could join us if you did. And yeah, as Dave pointed out earlier, engagement. We would love to hear from you. Comments, good or bad or indifferent, we don't mind. We've got thick skins, we can take it. And if there's anything you'd like to address, that you had an issue with what we said, or if you've got any ideas or anything you would like us to cover in future episodes, we would love to hear from you. Just leave a comment down in the comment section on the YouTube video. So I think we will call that a day. I will say bye for now.
Yeah, cheers. See you all. Be safe. Yeah, be careful out there. there are lots of idiots driving. Yeah, so just look after yourself. There's no other way of saying it. There is.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are. So yeah, I look forward to the next one.
Yep. All right. Bye for now.
Cheers.